Yeah, there guys, so another one real quick. I just want to do a video talking about what I've found the benefit is with working narrow vowels, mainly E and U, but it applies to anything. Basically, the tendency of a lot of people, and you can see it in vocal coaches as well, a lot of the rock guys, I won't mention names, but some of them, they tend to splat as they get higher, especially the ones that teach a lot of siren work. They tend to develop this quality because you're opening up, getting more intense the higher you get, and you can really hear how limiting that is in the singing, because even if you can get the notes well, you're always trying to power it out and muscle your way through the stuff, which it really limits your ability to sing well. You know, you'll end up only being able to sing a certain type of stuff, you know, things where that sound tends to go with the territory. But yeah, you develop a splatty type quality to the voice, where even if you're getting the notes, you'll tend to sound like you're breaking and just not singing very well. Sorry, I'm not in the middle of a shot. But yeah, and I struggle with this a bit. I've done a lot of siren work in the past, and I did it very inefficiently with too heavy a sound, not training the right parts of the voice, and it was a real struggle. So yeah, I've been experimenting recently with closed vowels, you know, keeping the lips fairly close. You know, if it's getting wider to let the sound out, it's getting, you know, wider, not, you know, wider. Big, you know, like a typical sort of siren thing that I see with a lot of people, just, yeah, you know, and they open, they reach, you know, you train in that strained sound into your voice, which is no good. I much prefer to work closed vowels. If I'm doing, I don't really do exercises or nothing like that, but I do see the merit of working these, because working the closed vowels, it builds the foundation for your voice. If you can do them, you can modify outward. You're never going to struggle with a vowel being too narrow for the sound you've got. Your singing will be more consistent, less strained, easier. You know, you'll probably have more endurance because you'll be working your voice more efficiently. And I find power comes from that, you know, vocal power, real vocal power, the ability to sound like you're bellowing. It comes from that sort of control. You know, I hear it in a lot of singers, like Jason Page is one of my favorites, the Pokemon theme singer. And his voice has a very thin quality, but it's incredibly potent when he gets going, especially in the upper ranges and that. And granted, you know, his voice goes all over the place, you know, his mouth in the upper ranges, and it sounds good, but the core of the sound is that narrow, controlled tone. It's a bright sound. So, as an example, I recommend working closed vowel exercises as quiet as you need to do to get the full voice sound. And my voice is still trashed from earlier, so it's not going to be brilliant. I'm not going to be demoing too high, but I recommend that. Like I say, as quiet as you can, pinhole thing, try to keep that full voice feel, but go as quiet and let it sound as falsetto-ish as it needs to be able to get the sound. So, for example, a middle C, and really working that bright quality. And again, my voice is trashed. You know, I did a lot of singing early and then a lot of recording stuff, so you know, I don't quite have the brightness to carry it well, but you get the idea, you know. Or an E vowel is good. E's even better. I prefer that because it emphasizes that bright quality. So E. And this doesn't seem like it'll have an obvious effect on your voice until you get into the ranges where you really need to address the balance. You've really got to lean towards that bright sound as you get higher, and it's hard to do if you're splatting outward and muscling your way through the notes. You'll tend to dominate with the muscles that your speaking voice, basically, you know, the lower, heavier thing, and to get higher ranges to happen, that part cannot be dominating the note. Otherwise, you're going to be straining. You'll pop, you'll crack, you'll squeak, you know, you'll make ungodly sounds trying to do it. And it won't sound very good. And like I say, I've heard this even with some vocal coaches. You know, those types of ugly sounds, because they can't get the right parts of the voice to dominate. So yeah, I say practice those closed vowel sounds. Get higher through the range, you know, so E above middle C. Yeah. And like, again, these don't seem like something that will give you power. They absolutely do, because you get used to that feel. You sort of get the feel for the way your voice needs to shape itself on the different notes with this coordination, and it becomes much easier to broaden out from that towards open vowels, so you can get more powerful. So I'll try a G, you know, yeah. So G note, like find it. It's basically falsetto sounding. There's a subtle difference between and but it's there. The second one feels like a quiet full voice. I kind of went into that with my last video, using falsetto to build your chest voice up. This is basically what you're doing. This is just exercises I would use, or an approach I would use to build that part where you're starting to add the chest voice weight. Because the second sound there to me feels distinctively like chest voice, like a full voice feel. You know, what I feel it should feel like. And then I can broaden it out to other vowels and get louder. I can get louder on that to a fair degree when my voice is a bit better, but you get the idea, you know. So an oo vowel, an e vowel, it really makes you work that bright quality and control the note. And it might be hard for a lot of you, especially if you tend to push, or you tend to use a dark sound to try to get your notes, but that works really well. And like I say, you can broaden out from there. Yeah, and you can see how it gets broader. You can darken it up afterwards. Yeah, you know, and whatever. Just, that's the key point. I don't think I'll demo too much higher because it's not going to sound very good. But there you go. You know, maybe I'll have a go, and if it's any good, I'll edit it. But yeah, so it just work those sounds and work it all the way up through the range. It will be squeezy or whatever in the higher areas. That's what I found anyway. My gut feeling, and it has happened to a fair degree, but I haven't practiced enough with it to get the feel for it, but it gets less squeezy the better you get. You know, you have to emphasize that sound less and less the better you get with it. You get more efficient making those sounds. You know, so try an A note. Ooh, and A's are tricky. These are really tricky. Those mid-range notes for guys, they are really hard to get the balance right, because that lower part will naturally want to push and dominate. But if you want to get those notes under control in a consistent, powerful manner, you've got to get the balance right, and you've got to work the bright sound to do that. You must get that part under control. So yeah, as a demo, so you can hear I'm struggling. I felt it there, the bright sound's getting on a bit, but it's likely to crack if I push it too much. So an E vowel, you can hear it, like I say, it has a tone that's reminiscent of falsetto, but it does feel full voice. It works its way into full voice more if I broaden it out. You see what I mean? You know, you can hear this, if you go listen to Jacksepticeye singing Frozen. You know that, and I always use video gamers as examples because they have really well developed voices from shouting at a TV screen all day. You know, something most vocal coaches would not advocate, but it works the voice to its fullest expression. And they work soft sounds as well, all sorts. They don't have the pressure on them to have to sound good. They just have to sound funny and do it. So yeah, they build from that falsetto, you know, you know, you get into the fuller sounds. And again, the best way to do it is work these narrow sounds, broaden out. So when you're practicing singing songs, something I recommend above exercises any day, unless you're really struggling with a concept and a feel, but when you're singing songs, make a point of not getting wider this way. Don't get wider vertically with your mouth. Don't, you know, with it trying to shout sort of thing. It's hard to explain, but you'll see it. Watch a lot of singers that are struggling with their notes live. You'll see it. The mouth goes all over the place, you know. It's hilarious. But watching, I'll post it below actually. Kip Winger doing Miles Away, the chorus. Whatever it was. Miles away, no you never turn. You know, whatever it is. I can't do it very well. But he's like a fucking ventriloquist. Just, no never turning back. He's barely opened the mouth. The sound is that narrowed and controlled. And he's got excellent control of his mid-range to this day. And he sounds a bit tired in the clip I'll post, but that's the point. Just work that narrow sound, that narrow bit. Force yourself to keep control of the note, to work it with the right muscles. Even if you crack or pop or whatever, that's fine. Work it quieter, get good at it at a quiet volume and broaden out. But yeah, building your voice from the narrow vowels works really well. Through any part of your range, you know, and you can use these to build the higher end as well. I don't know how much I'd have left there, but I'm using that to build my upper register, particularly an E vowel. I'm just getting basically that reinforced falsetto tone. I'm getting it as quiet and minuscule as I can. And I'm sliding about, up, down, whatever I can get, I'm doing it. You know, so it's about A sharp, you know, a quiet volume. And it sounds ridiculous. I don't even know if it's coming through the noise gate, but That is building my ability to get the high notes. And as I've mentioned, I'm starting to be able to get soprano high Cs, which is impressive for me because I haven't really been able to do that before. Whenever I've developed the ability to sort of roughly get them, I've then, buckled down with it and worked it more. And because I was working in efficient coordinations, the lower, weightier muscles, that sort of sound got more dominant. I lost my ability to do them. This happened on and off for years and years until I just finally gave up with it, assuming I just couldn't get them. And like I say, recently, working the brighter sounds, it's getting it, It's allowing my whistle voice to open. All sorts, just a silly sound like that. Except as quiet and minuscule as you can possibly get it. You're really just trying to let the sound creak out. And that'll expand your falsetto range. Again, you can do it with full voice. These are efficient sounds when you do them well. They cut all of that bottom resonance, I guess you could call it. They make it much more efficient. You're not trying to muscle your way onto a note or be powerful with these sounds. You're just trying to get it in an efficient, light manner. And from there, if you've got that well, you can build. So yeah, that's about it. Give them a try. Let me know if they work. Cheers.